Hello. Today is day 21 of this practice of healing my nervous system. Um, Yesterday I had some triggers pop up that I didn't really know how to navigate, and um it took me some time, some self-soothing. What's interesting to me is how quickly I now move to self-soothing once I realize that I'm in a anxiety spiral. Um, Typically, it would take me hours, even days, of acknowledging that this is an anxiety spiral and then moving to do something about it consistently. But last night, I think it took me maybe an hour. Then I was like, oh, this is an anxiety spiral. Let me, just treat myself as if I was a child experiencing this. Like, how would I talk to my kid if I realized that they were experiencing an anxiety spiral? So that's what I did. I just talked to myself. I did the best that I could, and then I got ready for bed and I went to sleep. Did it take me a while to fall asleep? Yes. But I did. I decided to sleep on it. And this morning I woke up, did my breath work pretty much first thing in the morning. I woke up early again today. And then I was able to journal, and it turned into a moment of such beautiful shadow work. And I realized that this is a shadow that was developed later in life. And so it's really not that old of a shadow. It's one that I didn't know was there because it wasn't there before when I first started this journey years ago. The shadow wasn't there. It was learned in the years that I was struggling and trying to heal myself and doing a lot of healing. But perfection is unachievable. And so I documented what was going on with myself, and I was able to really work through it, find the root of it, which is so important because you can list out the immediate cause, you can list out your reactions, all those things. But if you can't get down to the root of what it is, it's hard to really dig up. And it took me a while, but eventually I realized what it was. And after acknowledging that, I immediately moved into acknowledging how proud I was of the work that I'm doing. Let me glance at this because it's been a while. I'm in the afternoon now. I've done so much. I am learning so much every day. Yeah, I immediately wrote to myself, like, this coping mechanism is now obsolete in this stage of my life. So I acknowledged that it was a defense mechanism, a coping mechanism that helped me at one point, and I thanked it for showing up. And then I simply enforced that it's now obsolete. I'm no longer in that stage of my life. It's time for new habits. And then I gave myself permission to be my authentic self now. And I acknowledged how my softness is rewarded in my personal relationships where it used to be punished. And I don't have to alter myself, toughen myself up, put up a barrier between me and the people that I want to be connecting with. Because now it's causing a barrier, whereas before the barrier was quite literally protection. And then I acknowledged my strengths and how this trait is actually a great thing, how being soft and sensitive is actually the trait of a great leader, in my opinion. How can you lead others if you aren't sensitive enough to know what they actually need and to hear them when they come to you with wants, desires, struggles, whatever it is? Like, you need to be able to feel. It's also the trait of a very meaningful friend. Like, your most meaningful friend in your life is going to be somebody who is sensitive to your emotions, to the things that are going on in your life, and a true partner. Because again, like, how can you be a true partner to somebody if you aren't sensitive enough to be able to empathize and understand what they may be going through, even if it's not something that directly affects you. And then I told myself how proud of myself I was. And I thanked myself for showing up and always choosing the better path, even when it's not the easier one. And that's been really cool because this is all stuff that I've been doing for years, right? But the process has been expedited since I started doing Kundalini yoga and following this practice. It's wild to me. And I haven't even been the most consistent, and I'm still seeing such beautiful results. Yeah, and it's really creating room in my brain to hush the noise, hush all the guilt, hush all of the stress that was going on in it, and all the ruminations, all the intrusive thoughts, etc., etc. All the things that come with CPTSD, PTSD, OCD. Those are all things that are going on in this head of mine. And now I'm able to, like, I have so many tools that are coming to me filled with information about how to take these next steps, how to prepare for running a business that is not just me delivering services to people. Really expanding my mindset on how to work in the digital age because, yeah, I've scrolled social media forever, but I've never worked on it. All these things, right? All these beautiful things that I wanted the knowledge of, that I need for where I'm going in life. And it's created all this space where I can actually focus and absorb and then put into action the things that I'm learning. And that's great. Like, everything feels very divinely timed because before this, did I get opportunities? Yes. Was it hard for me to fulfill the expectations in those opportunities? It really was, because there was so much going on in my mind and I had so many self-doubt spirals and guilt from things in the past that I shouldn't even feel guilty about. And it's like somebody hit mute on the remote and now I have all of this space to work with. And I'm really grateful because the opportunities, the information that I need for the opportunities that are to come are coming to me at the exact time that I've been able to quiet my mind. And it's not perfect, right? Like, there are still many days where things are popping up for me, but my process of dealing with them is faster, it's more efficient, it's healing me in ways that I can't fully put to word. It's just a really beautiful experience. Like, it feels like if you've been in a rainstorm for a year and there's been little blips of sunshine along the way. And you could always see the sun shining behind the clouds, but it was never fully hitting you directly. And if it was like a blip, right? Like, oh, you may get an hour this month and 2 hours a couple months after that. And now it feels like the sun is shining on me 80% of the time. And then the storms roll in, they give my ecosystem what it needs, and then the sun comes back out. And it's great. And yes, it's taking effort from me, but it's so worth it. The amount of effort that I'm putting in compared to what I'm receiving in return is mind-blowing. And it's also rewiring my brain because as the school systems taught us growing up, and also the adults in my life encouraged while I was growing up is that the more work you do, the more success you might achieve, right? So work, 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 and you're not working hard enough and you're not doing enough, blah, 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 right? I feel like we've all heard that at some point. And you do all that work and you end up so burnt out, and the payoff is okay. That's all right. Even when you're doing good, like it's okay, but is it really worth all the time and effort and energy you're putting into it? Versus now, the amount of daily energy that I'm putting into regulating my nervous system is quite low. Like I spend 30 minutes in the morning, maybe 40, because I need to include my journaling time, of regulating my nervous system, right? And then the rest of the day, there's some low maintenance. I play frequencies and affirmations just in the background. Do I also listen to my music? Yeah. Do I also watch shows? For sure. I haven't even been sleeping to affirmations like I like to do. But I do think it's something I'll restart because it does help. And it can only get better and better, right? But it hasn't even been necessary. I'm not doing nearly as much as I used to. At most, I would say 4 hours on a tough day. On a great day, that 40 minutes. Sometimes less. Sometimes I'll do something else. On the days where I skip my breath work, I'm doing even less than that. But it's restructuring my mind because I am disabled and I am not able to do the amount of work that I used to do. And that's a blessing. It didn't feel like a blessing. It doesn't always feel like a blessing, but I know that it is because it's forced me to slow the heck down. And I needed to. As somebody who was insanely hyper independent because I didn't have another choice, the universe quite literally said, you're going to stop. You're not going to have a choice. And you're going to stop for a long time. Enough time that you are forced to accept that there has to be another way. And every time you try to jump back into what you know, we're going to stop you. And it's been frustrating. It has hurt my ego and my pride. But it's all, at the end of the day, been a blessing for me. And it's truly showing me that you can get amazing results with a fraction of the work. And that's exactly the type of business that I want to run and found. Because we're not meant to be spending 40 plus hours a week on just work. What about family? What about friends? What about us? What about self-care? What about nature? What about our interests and hobbies? Like, that's just a few of the things that you can name. What about cleaning your house? What about all of these things, right? Who has the time and energy for that when you're working nonstop? And so it's showing me that it's like, okay, you find the right thing and you are very meaningful with it, it can pay out crazy. And there's people who work like that. Like that is how their companies are founded. And I always used to listen to them, but there was always that voice of doubt within myself. Like, all right, but how are they actually doing it? But it's like, okay, now I've seen it within myself. Does it have to do with business? No, but it's something arguably even harder. I've ran a business before. Was the business me? For sure. But I made great money. I made great contacts. I have built relationships with these people and I still have them years later. And it's like, I learned how I could scale in that way. But something that's harder and that a lot of people aren't able to do, because how many successful business people are out there and they're still struggling internally? Probably a lot. Like, come on now. So it's just like, if I can do it here, I can do it out there. I've seen myself get results out in the real world. Getting results within yourself can be more daunting. I think that's really the word I was looking for. And so it just really felt like a breakthrough. And it's really giving me the pause to see the doubts that are holding me back and tracing back to when those doubts were instilled in me and why they were instilled in me. And every single time it's because it was a threat to somebody who was dangerous and trying to portray themselves as safe. And I had the information to prove that they are not the safe person they pretend to be. And so they silenced me, they shamed me, they made my word unbelievable to the public through quite literally public humiliation. And so now I'm afraid to show up in my own life. But now I realize, and it doesn't make it the easiest thing to just show up now. But I do understand where these fears and anxieties come from for me. And I no longer am shaming myself for how I feel, for being afraid to show up, for being afraid to voice my opinions, to speak what is true to me. And it's nice. It really is. Do I still have work to do on myself? Yeah. But I'm able to do that work on myself and also experience so much joy. I get to play during the day instead of working on myself during the day and then getting a little bit of play in the evenings potentially. Now it's like, no, I get to work on myself a little bit throughout the day as it comes up, but I'm playing for the most part. I'm making art. I'm learning new things, which as an autistic person is so fun for me, especially when it's something that I can actually like take and put into action in my life. Great. I'm so excited about this. It's working my brain in a way that I haven't experienced in a while. Probably since like 2020, 2021, when I was first learning about what autism really is and not just like what people say and how they talk about it, and learning the different ways it can manifest in different people, and then realizing, oh, I'm one of these people. And then learning how it manifests for me and seeing how my other neurodivergencies tie into that and how actually a lot of them are quite connected. And there's a reason that all these things happen in my mind and in my body. And there's ways that you can accommodate yourself. That was a fun period for me. And now I'm learning business stuff. Like, not only am I learning like creative things, like I learned how to design jewelry through CAD instead of making everything by hand in front of me, through wire wrapping and other forms, and expanding what I can do. I'm experimenting with new mediums like clay, like I showed in my last video. I've been drawing and painting more, which is something that I wrote off as a kid because I was like, I'm not good enough at this. But I don't think that's true. I think I was just comparing myself to others who were more interested in that specifically at that time. And so they excelled faster than me. And it's been a beautiful period of expansion and growth and really allowing my inner light to shine and being curious about what is feeding the shine that lives within me. And now I'm learning all this business stuff, right? Which is fun. I went to school for business. I went to so many classes where they're like, if you want to become a business owner, here, we're going to like create a fake business and do all these modules and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not going to run a business. Are you kidding me? I just want to get a paycheck and go home. Like, I don't want to worry about all that. But then I left school, left the job that was getting me through school, getting me free housing, etc. And I interviewed for a whole bunch of these positions and none of them aligned. None of them. And so, in a way, I did start my own business, and it was always centered around services, me providing a service. And then I went off, I moved across the country, and I really launched into my services, and I became a true entrepreneur. I was running basically 2 businesses. And I was successful, and I had built great clientele. I was making great money. My hours were pretty great considering. And it was helping me when I was struggling a lot with my health, and I could not work the same 40 plus hours a week doing physical manual labor that I used to do. And then I did go into like corporate and hated it, as I knew I did. I didn't enjoy school. I didn't enjoy how it was all set up. And so I was like, no, this isn't going to work. I'm an entrepreneur at my spirit. That's what it is. And I know that I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. I want to combine these two. But it felt daunting. It felt impossible. Even though I knew I was going to do it and I was set on it, it still felt daunting. It still felt impossible. I still had all these questions of how am I actually going to pull this off? Do I have that answer for you today? No, I don't. But what I do have is a self-assurance that I did not have before. I have a confidence in myself that I did not have before. I have a voice that I did not have before. I am getting so much better at articulating myself, my needs, my wants, my thoughts. And because of that, and also because I do search for things, but honestly, a lot of this has just been coming to me. It's like I committed to making the changes within myself because I was drowning just trying to exist every day, trying to take care of my household, daily things that we all have to do. I was struggling with just that. Meeting new people felt like such a chore. And I'm not saying that I'm the most social butterfly now. I'm not sure if I'll ever be a true social butterfly. I am an introvert at heart. But now I meet people and sometimes I really do see a chance at actual connection, and I'm excited about that instead of worrying about how I'll keep up with a new relationship, a new friendship, etc. It's nice. And even when I am nervous about social interactions, I still am able to show up more authentically as me. And that's really what I've been asking for. And now, because I've done this inner work, the opportunities that I have been praying for, crying about, journaling about, wishing for, the information that I need to build the foundation to build upon is flowing to me, and I'm actually able to put it into action. I couldn't have done this a month ago, a month and a half, whenever I started this. Probably about a little less than a month. I'm on day 21. I've missed a few days of my actual practice. I'm in a completely new space. People talk about jumping timelines. That's how it feels. Am I technically in the exact same place, like physically? Yeah. Same relationship, same home, same people surrounding me. But I mentally, emotionally, psychologically am in a completely different space. And I'm forever grateful. This practice is changing my life in the best way. Yeah, that is my message for today. This was a long one, but truly, like, I mean every single word of what I just said. So, if you're drowning inside, just consider going to the description box, clicking the link, and following the video that's linked in there. It's not me, it is somebody who is far more experienced and has already put the tools out there. I just found it and am continuing to share it with my own experience. Have a beautiful day. Hello.